2 years from now, we could talk about how we reshape that entire program, and we'd now have an educated populace very interested in what the future was. The second thing I'll do is simple. I'll match any liberal in America in my desire that the United States can create jobs competing with China. But I want to create jobs competing with China, not protect old jobs hiding from China. Now, if you want to compete with China, there's a simple step we have to take. Let's match the Chinese capital gains tax, which is 0. If you have 0 capital gains in terms of the tax code, you're going to see billions of dollars pour into investment, billions of dollars open up new factories, billions of dollars invest in new technology, and we're suddenly going to have the most dynamic economy in the world. Third, if you really want American companies to compete in the world market, then the answer is not to pass something which will take away the right to a secret ballot and coerce them into unionism they don't want. The answer is not strengthening the trial lawyers. The answer is match the Irish corporate tax rate, which is 12.5%. When you combine federal and state taxes, the American corporation pays the highest tax rate in the world. If we suddenly were competing at the Irish tax rate level, you would see an explosion of productivity in American companies, an enormous increase in our export market share, and we'd be remarkably better off. The fourth tax change we need is very simple. Make permanent abolishing the death tax so people who are There are two straightforward principles. People who spend their entire life working and saving and developing should not be punished when they die and have their children and grandchildren lose the fruit of their lifetime of work. In addition to taxes, we need an American energy policy using American sources of energy to return money to the United States. Bowing to a Saudi king is not an energy policy. If we had $300 or $400 billion a year of energy purchases in the United States instead of going overseas, the economic momentum, the revenue momentum of that would make this a healthier, safer, stronger country and be a significant step back to being the most productive and most prosperous economy on the planet. Now, you may say, how would you pay for all this? Let me say, first of all, if you looked at the economic growth differential between a socialist, high-tax, big bureaucracy Obama model and what I just described, the difference between a 4% unemployment America and a 10% unemployment America is a substantial revenue differential. But I want to go a step further, and I want to go back to what Tim was saying earlier and make a point of personal privilege here. I am very comfortable saying to you, we can balance the federal budget because for 4 years while I was Speaker, we balanced the federal budget. During the 4 years I was Speaker, we kept the growth in federal spending to 2.9% a year, including all of the entitlements. We doubled the investment in the National Institutes of Health for medical research. We strengthened the intelligence budget. We worked very hard to set priorities. We closed some small government departments, would have done more. But remember, we're doing all this with a liberal Democrat in the White House. It is those 4 years are the smallest growth rate in the federal government since Calvin Coolidge in the 1920s. So we know it can be done because we did it. Now, I'd go a step further. In order to pay for the 2-year 50% reduction, I would transfer in money from key places. I would take back most of the politician stimulus package that hasn't been spent and save that money to return it as a tax cut. We should immediately sell all of the government ownership of every company taken over in the last year and a half.